Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is June 12th, 2026, and we are here talking about the current tropical wave that has now entered the Gulf from Yucatan. That also has a mix remnants of Tropical Storm Cristina that had made landfall as an Eastern Pacific tropical storm, as well as with merging into a new wave, talking about how she may actually end up being system that might end up having technically three lives, which we'll get a little bit more into in a minute on that and what that could look like and what's going to happen. But you can see it's still showing her as a system or an area of interest in the Gulf is the only one still. They have upped the odds a little bit for the last over the next 48 hours and 7 days. While they both still show low, they did go from 10% to 20%, so that is interesting. However, it does seem like conditions will still not be completely favorable for it to actually fully form into a full-fledged tropical storm again, or worse, most likely would be a tropical depression. But no matter where it goes, Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, the upper Gulf Coast can all end up dealing with heavy rain and some gusty winds from it, which we'll get more into in a moment. I do want to touch on tomorrow's severe thunderstorm threat, obviously. That will be for the southern central plains and the Missouri Valley. Um, of course, I had to refresh when I have this loaded. This is day two convection, so this is for tomorrow, Saturday. As you can see, it does show that there is an enhanced area, which is number three out of the five ranking scale system, which means, again, it's not a super high threat, but there is an enhanced threat that you may see some severe storm manifest. They are currently thinking it will just mostly be areas of heavy rain throw in with some wind and hail possibility. Areas that have the highest risk, which would be the enhanced risk, would be Kansas City, over there by Lincoln, Nebraska, um, Springfield, Missouri, and then, of course, Omaha and Des Moines. Um, a little bit also from more of the yellow stuff, so Woodward, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, and everyone else has a risk of just some typical garden variety storms, so nothing super crazy, which is good. I will show you what it does show for tornado threat. So the highest risk of tornado threat would be the Kansas City. Over there, it's near the Springfield area. The odds for that is only 5%. The rest of it is 2%. So again, not super bad, but still worth noting. Wind. Why am I not? Okay, there we go. For wind, we do have a hatched area for intensity, so it does show intensity of being a number one. So the least out of the three intensity levels. Highest risk is 30%, again, for Kansas City, Springfield, Tulsa would also be included in that. And for hail, it does show Kansas City, Hannibal, or west of Hannibal, east of Kansas City, west of Hannibal, up there, near the edge of Iowa to possibly deal with that. So I did want to go ahead and give you guys attention on that, since that is an important thing I think we need to mention. So stay weather aware if you are located in those areas, or if you know people who are in there. Stay weather aware. It doesn't seem to be a tornado outbreak, which is good news, but heavy rain is definitely possible. It could cause some flash flooding, unfortunately, and of course, wind and hail as well could happen. So let's go ahead and get back to the tropical system, also known as I'm referring to as the zombie tropical storm Christina. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation. If you remember yesterday, which I will try to link to that video, so this one, we did say that there really was no rotation on the surface level, which was a good thing. However, as of this evening, and if you saw earlier this morning, if you do follow my shorts or my Facebook page, I did mention that, as I again hinted at last night, with daytime heating dying off and going to overnight hours, convection did weaken significantly for it, but now it's entering those primed ocean temperature conditions, and more into the idea atmospheric conditions that it needs to try to form. We do see it does look like it's trying to get some level of spin. So again, tropical depression could possibly try to form between now and tomorrow night when it interacts with the country of Mexico, eastern Mexico over there. It does look like we do have possibly two areas that might be trying to divide to be a center, or maybe they might try to stack. Again, it does seem unlikely that a tropical storm or obviously anything above that, which would be a hurricane, seems very unlikely, but tropical depression does seem to be likely as we do see some organization going on. I did mention yesterday also out there in the open Atlantic, middle of Atlantic, that we had some rotation there. Looks like that has weakened a little bit, which is good news. Everything else looks pretty good for the most part. Let's take a look over there coming off the coast of Africa. So you do see some, again, things trying to rotate a little bit to possible areas, but again, mostly in the main development region. Don't have a whole lot going on, which is good news. So again, we should be keeping our, right now, attention over here by the remnants of Cristina and the current wave that's trying to see if it can group together and form anything. Over here by CAG area, it does look like we have a little bit of rotation kind of over here. So that is going to be interesting to see if that tracks over into the Caribbean. Time will tell. Again, right now, speaking from a meteorological sense, with this being early into June, going to the middle of June, typically anything that does form closer to home, meaning America, Mexico, the Caribbean, any of those things versus all coming off the coast of Africa. Granted, things can happen still. Things could still try to form off the coast of Africa, but that doesn't typically happen until, again, August, September, October. So it does look like we should be keeping our focus mainly here, close to where land is, as our greatest risk for now. But right now, only one area of interest to talk about. And here is the satellite view of it. So compared to this morning, well, should we go ahead and pull that up to show you what that looked like this morning? This is the photo I took of the satellite image this morning around 8 o'clock. As you can see, it was definitely a kind of chopped up, sloppy mess. He did have little areas of convection. The system over there in the southern plains, definitely had going towards the Mississippi Valley, definitely had more. Um, Intensity, I would say, than what this had. Definitely was a little bit more of a choppy mess, which again, like I said last night, that was kind of expected. But if you compare that to what we have now, it's definitely looking like it's regrouping. We do kind of have some competing areas of convection over here. We do have the one over there off the Yucatan, which I think is probably the primary area we should be watching, but we do see some firing off a little bit to the south overland and southeast, and then we do still have some trying to fire up over there closer to Cuba. And of course, if you've lived in the Carolinas, Georgia, or Florida today, you also had afternoon showers from daytime heating. Due to how hot it has been and will be for the next few days, I think we can probably expect what's likely to happen some more. And of course, some of the storms that try to fire off over there in the southern plains. So it's looking better. It could, like I said, end up having technically three lives. So if this does form into become a depression, or a tropical storm, which seems unlikely at this point, and then make landfall into Mexico, what will happen is, as we all know, anything that is of tropical nature will always try to go toward the pole. Since we are in the northern hemisphere, it's always going to try to go to the North Pole, which means it would go up this way or go out this way. And with that being said, and all of this atmospheric juice that's in the Gulf right now, the conditions are primed and ready for possibly a round of severe or heavy rain, I should say, from anywhere again from Mexico. I would say all of coastal Texas into Louisiana, even going over there by the Panhandle of Florida, um, and maybe even reaching closer to Florida's East Coast and maybe into the Carolinas a little bit in Georgia. Time will tell on that, but that does seem to be like a possibility. So technically, the system would have three lives and would really be a zombie in that sense. So again, as the National Hurricane Center said, if you did not see, mentioned that yeah, we may see it reemerge on Northwestern Gulf on Tuesday and Wednesday, which could try to further develop. So we may see a round three of this. We're seeing round two starting to ramp up, so we'll have to kind of continue to monitor. It's definitely something you don't see too often. Does happen. And like I said, with this year being a El Nino year and things like that, it is worth noting that some unusual things may be the case this year, but definitely worth noting on that. Okay, let's go forward to again kind of the ocean temperatures I showed yesterday. So as you saw, a lot of the convections over here kind of in the curvature of Mexico into Yucatan. Definitely prime water heat for that. Talk about 83 to 82 degrees. Definitely warm. Luckily, up here in the upper Gulf Coast, it is definitely a little bit cooler. Not much. I mean, 1 to 2 degrees cooler probably isn't going to make much of a difference for it. But it is worth noting that the water is definitely primed and the atmosphere is juicy. So that is definitely going to give it plenty of possible fuel. I think, again, the biggest thing is the proximity it has to land masses, as well as the fact that it's got a very short window to try to form and before it interacts with land again. So that does play in our favor over here. And then kind of talk about the possible third life of the system. So we're looking at Euro model. This is for Monday the 15th. As you can see, it definitely does show potential for some rain all the way up there close to the Arkansas Louisiana border, a little bit southeast of Texas, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston definitely getting it. If you do go forward, you do see kind of expand out, and a few days later, even seeing it a little bit over here. Let's see if we can go forward. Let's see, let's go to Tuesday. And again, you can see, so nothing super strong. Definitely some heavy rain over there in Mexico. Definitely showing possible thunderstorms trying to form, but again, nothing too crazy. But definitely worth noting that, we may see, this is again just one model, we may see wide range of widespread showers and gusty winds, possibly if she does decide to get a third life, which looks like it might be a possibility. So, kind of a shorter video today since it's not a whole lot to talk about. Again, we're in early in the season. Right now, our main focus is this tropical wave over there in the Gulf. Definitely seeing, still severe weather happening over there in the Central Plains into the Midwest. Not unusual again for this time of year. We literally just ended May. Um, so we'll continue to monitor and watch. Obviously, as we get closer towards the peak of season, I am sure we'll have a lot more to talk about. I am hoping to have a few other video ideas come out as well. If you guys have anything particularly you want to see or hear about in terms of weather, particularly tropical or even non-tropical, please let me know. I will continue to post updates. Again, I post multiple shorts throughout the day on YouTube as well as on my Facebook page. So please feel free to like and follow me on both of those platforms to see what I am sharing with everyone. And we'll continue to track this season as we work our way towards the peak. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon again.